reached out to me, said make a theme song for my show. Said alright, just give me all the details, man. And my homie says he don't know. Well, if you're gonna pay me big bucks, cause I might should have something to say. He said, you know what I bring, I'm the customizing king, nothing else matters anyway. So is he gonna have guests? I don't know. Is he gonna go live? I don't know. What time will it be? What will you see? I'm pretty much in the dark, but I can guarantee he'll be customizing action figures, getting paint all on his fingers. It's art by Akerman. It's art by Akerman. Tips and tricks and conversation, sharing his gift with every nation. It's art by Akerman. Art by Akerman. You best get ready, cause now it's time for Art by Akerman.
All right, welcome back, folks, to another How'd They Do That? This is the segment where I talk to different artists in the community about how they created their art. Could be, customizers, painters, photographers, dial makers, whatever. And today I have a very, very special guest. Somebody I've been trying to chase down for a while, but he's been a busy guy this year, doing a lot of work. So somebody that's very well known in the customizing community and now is working for different toy lines and having some fun. So excited to bring him on and talk to him. And it is the one and only Eric Miller. Eric, how you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great, Curtis. How are you?
I am fantastic. So glad that we were able to make some time work and get this in.
For sure.
I've been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, you had sent me a text and I was like, man, this is like the first break I've gotten in a while. Like, let's go now.
Well, I know I had messaged you earlier in the year, and I think it was right before, maybe it was like a week or two before they announced the head packs for the Cosmic Legions. And you were like, I got some stuff going on. Like, yeah. And you couldn't really talk about it and stuff, but you're like, I'm kind of busy right now, but let me check back with me. And yeah, it seems like it's been a kind of a whirlwind of a year for you. So
it has been for sure. Yeah.
Well, let's get right into it. I know that, obviously you've been doing this for a while. You've been customizing and doing your own creations. And recently you've started working for a few different toy lines. I know you did a little bit of work for Defenders of Eden. You did some Savage Crucible stuff. You've got a current Kickstarter going, which we'll talk about here in a minute. And you've been working for Four Horsemen recently. So wanted to touch on a few of those things, and then we'll also kind of go back in the Wayback Machine and look at some of your older customs as well. So
for sure.
But let's start with this guy, because they just showed this past week. I think a lot of people were really impressed with how this came out. This is from the Horrors of Isomol Wave. This is I'm just going to call it Joe Cool. They can change the name all they want, but it's Joe Cool.
I knew it as Joe Cool too, so it's hard for me to change it up.
So now this is the newer body style, right? Like this has got like the improved articulation and stuff. So, first thoughts on that and that addition to the line and what changes that makes.
I really like it. I'll be honest in saying I'm one of those people that when they first announced it at G-Con last year, I was kind of unsure. We all really like this toy line the way it was. You're huge fans and have been for years. So obviously change is sometimes scary, and I get it. And especially since we like to customize so much, it's like adding joints, changing things up. It changes workflow and all sorts of things. But I can say, having had it in hand, even just in like resin printed prototype form, there's something about it that I really like. And I had a moment when I got Jakul in here the first time and kind of put the pieces together to kind of see what I was working with. And there's something about the proportion and the way it all fits together that just works really, really well. And I think, we all know the studio, and we know they're going to do everything to the best of their ability. So they're not going to release anything that's not to their liking, or something that they feel isn't up to their standards. So I really feel like it's gone through its paces, and I think that it's going to be something really cool.
Yeah, I like the fact that they didn't just make like one sweeping change, right? They didn't just say, well, this is the new articulation and everything that we've done in the past is done. It feels like they're really kind of picking and choosing where they feel like this will make the most benefit. And this seems like a character that would make sense to have some extra articulation on. So that being said, like, tell us a little bit as you kind of went through painting this and what your thought process was.
Sure. So, I mean, as far as painting it goes, we get kind of like a pre-render of kind of what Eric's got in his mind whenever we do anything new. So, I mean, there's that sheet that comes through, but you know, it's like you could print it out. It looks different than it does on your phone. You know, you save the image on your phone or whatever and reference it, but colors can get a little skewed and things like that. So, I mean, I definitely kind of clarified a lot with this guy because I wanted to make sure I was approaching it from the right angle. The render, his skin tone to me looked like a very light gray. Not as much blue in it. There was kind of some blue in the shading, so I clarified with that. And you know, Eric was like, "No, let's do like a like a really light desaturated blue." And Jeremy kind of gave me part of the story, and I was like, "Okay, cool. I have context now." So putting that together, you know, it's like he's a tundra orc. You know, he's light blue, blends in with the surroundings, and kind of tackled it that way. And then, you know, just kind of the contrasting armor and belts and stuff and make it kind of a darker color. Try to keep a cool tone, but also, you know, there's some warmer colors that sneak in with the leathers and things like that. So came out really cool. I think I love this character. I love his silhouette. I love how big and beefy his top half is.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize the pauldrons at first because of the extra like horns in the back that are different than like, so I didn't even recognize them as the Tharnog ones, which cool. You know, is just something that I love about, you know, the whole, you know, Four Horsemen Studios is that yes, there's parts reuse, but it's done in very effective ways to where you're painting them differently to where it almost looks like a brand new part each time, even if it is, you know, some parts reuse. It has a different look to it. I really like that.
Yeah, and I did that consciously too. I mean, the Tharnog pauldrons are kind of painted like bare bone also, so I didn't want to do the same thing, you know, so I consciously changed up the colors so that we've got two different looking things, you know.
That's awesome. I was interested kind of see what your style was with painting these, because I know I've talked to Sherry and I've talked to Cameron, and they have very different like style. Like when I talk to Sherry, she's like, you know, kind of whatever Eric puts on the sheet, whatever his suggestion is, that's pretty much what she goes with. And Cameron's like, well, I kind of try some different things and I run stuff by, you know, Eric to see if he would be opposed to trying something this way or that way. And it feels like he kind of makes some changes on the fly. So I was kind of interested to see like what your style is. So sounds like maybe there's a little bit of a mix there.
Yeah, I kind of default to the render. So I mean, if it's clear cut and the vision is super clear and concise, like I don't really mess with it. I'll stick with it. And then, you know, once I give them the first pass, if they're like, well, let's change this up, you know, then we'll talk about it a little bit. There have been times where the render, like I don't really think Eric considers them finished. Sometimes he just kind of like lays down a rough concept. So sometimes there are ambiguous areas, to which, you know, I'll ask like, hey, what's going on here? Like, what do you think the approach should be with this? And usually I'm met with like, what do you want to do?
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I'll give an idea, and usually the answer is, sounds good, let's try it, you know, and then that's basically it, you know. So
yeah, I like, I mean, I've been to intern a couple times now, and I just love the vibe there that it's not, I mean, obviously it's Eric's vision. He's the one doing the sculpting and stuff. But it's not like a dictatorship where he's like, this is how everything's going to be done. It is a very collaborative environment where, you know, people are throwing out ideas and coming up with things, and, you know, every opinion is valued there, which I think is super cool.
Yeah. I couldn't ask for more when it comes to, the way they've made me feel part of the team, you know, because I obviously am remote. I'm not there in the studio every day, so it's very easy for me to feel like I'm in my own little bubble. But in so many ways, they're constantly like, "Hey, come on, let's talk. Let's go through this stuff and making me feel included in a lot of the processes. So like, I just couldn't ask for more. It's been such a cool experience.
That's very cool. And back to this guy, like, I not only the overall look, but I love the weaponry with him too. Like all the bone weapons and stuff, I feel just really works well with this guy and his story and who he's supposed to be. And great job with the painting on the weapons as well as the armor. So
thank you. Again, I wanted to change that up too, because the Thraxians come with those bone weapons coming up soon. So I was looking at photos of those to make sure that I wasn't hitting the same tones.
Yeah, and once again, I looked at this and Jeremy had to correct me on the after party. I was like, those are new weapons, right? And he's like, no, those are the ones with the Thraxians. Like, holy cow, man! Like, it just you make it look so different. So yeah, great job.
And how about that photo by Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, he makes everything look amazing. But yeah, it's great. I love the shot, and that's going to be. I mean, I already heard. I think it was on Legion's Lounge where you were kind of talking in the chat about getting a print of that. Absolutely. Like if I painted something like that, dude, I'd want that print. So
yeah, I'll be bugging him for prints of pretty much everything that I've touched. It'll be part of my collection.
That's awesome. So then this is another one that was shown this year, which I just thought this was fantastic because when I saw this painted, I was like, holy cow, it's like this armor was sculpted specifically for this tribute. How did I not see this previously? And man, you just did a great job on this thing. Like if this were next to like a bunch of Motu actual like horde troopers that they have done over the years in different lines, I would say this is the best one. So wow. Tell us a little bit about this guy.
Thanks. That's another one, they basically just come to me and say, hey, we got this project for you. And this one, the render Jeremy did. This is Jeremy's character. He kind of envisioned the whole thing, which is cool. He was originally supposed to be in the Harrow Zone Ox Crew wave with the Buzz-Off tribute that they used the concept of David Williams for. But he just didn't fit in the lineup. They were a figure over, so they kind of removed it, pushed it back. I don't know if Jeremy kind of thought, dang it, my character's not going to get made or whatever, but found a way to come back to it. And so I got a render from Jeremy. This one was he had taken a picture of just one of Trevor's solicitation photos of I think the Gravekeeper from Valkatar Book 2. And just kind of photoshopped the colorway over it. So this is another one of those ones where I basically stuck to the render. There wasn't anything for the secondary helmets or the secondary visor. Like he just had the Horde Trooper tribute visor on there. So I suggested things for those, and sounds great, and I just went with it. And then the other thing too was like I colored it to be like the vintage figure, I matched those colors down to the Pantone, so it should be really that's close awesome. When it comes out. But I didn't do multiple shades of the gray. I kept it to one shade like the vintage figure. So when I showed Jeremy the first pass, he was like, it looks a little plain. Like, let's do something to spice up the big gray areas, So I didn't want to do anything that was really distracting or made it so that it didn't read as gray or like a Horde Trooper. So it's just a few tones off of that base gray. But just hitting certain parts with that darker gray really adds a lot of interest to the character, I think.
And I know you're a big fan of the Cosmic line as well, but I love the Tusk bodies. There is so much sculptural detail that Eric has put into like those arms and legs and torso that like you can choose different parts to paint each time. And even if you use the same color pattern, you could paint them up 100 different ways. I just love the amount of details that you find as you're going through there, and you're like, oh, look at this little screw, and look at this like tubing here, and yeah, just a lot of cool stuff.
That's totally true. I mean, there's a ton of stuff on that sculpt that I never realized was there until I painted it. So
Absolutely. So then the other one that we saw, this was the first thing that we saw this year, was the heads pack. And so now was this the first thing that they talked to you about, or is this just the first thing that we saw?
That is the first like in-house
Okay,
thing that I
gotcha.
got to do. So I had been working with them on other toy lines. They help other companies kind of bring their
Correct.
vision to life. So I had done a number of projects already with them, that kind of stuff. And I've said this before, like I never would have bugged them or bothered them and been like, hey, can I work on like
Right.
cosmic
The
or
main
mythic
line,
or
yeah.
yeah, like I never would have asked. But luckily, they came to me and said, "Hey, I think I think you'd be great for this project." It explained the whole thing to me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm game. Let's do it." So yeah, that's how the character packs came about, and that I was just over the moon getting to work on in-house Four Horsemen stuff. It's a
Now
dream come true.
with this stuff where you're kind of matching it to a body, because the idea with this, and correct me if I'm saying anything wrong here, but like within Mythic, you've got a bunch of knights and stuff where you can kind of take other heads and pop on. It's pretty easy. But within Cosmic, there's a lot of alien bodies with alien colors. And so it's not easy to just like, especially if somebody's not a painter, to just get something that matches and fits on there. So this kind of gives them some more options to kind of build out the cosmic bodies that we already have with some different looks. Does that sound fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the spirit of the project for sure.
So you get this, and now you're trying to match it like on the nose to these bodies. And did you make some phone calls? Did you kind of reach out and say, "Hey, what'd you guys do the first time?" Or you just kind of go at it and try to work on it?
Yeah, I didn't ask for help at all, which I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like they came out pretty good, but I had this overwhelming feeling that I really needed to prove myself with this one, so I didn't want to just run to them with a bunch of questions or ask for a bunch of help. So I tried to figure it out on my own. Obviously, if something wasn't clicking, I wouldn't have like left it unmatching or whatever. I would have reached out, but luckily I was able to put the pieces together and pretty much get everything the way that I wanted it. The key to that too was when I went to intern in 2021, Cameron was talking in his painting tutorial about a paint by Vallejo called Space Dust. It's like a set that you get that's, I think it's 6 different colors. And I went right out when I got home and bought that set. And when we got to the Sphexian, gosh, I can never remember.
It's not the
red
Block
one.
Commander. It's the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I got to
Guard?
him, I was,
Is it the Spexian Guard?
yeah, prison guard.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck is going on with this paint? I could kind of hit that base tone, but there's this shimmer over it that's totally different. And there were a couple days where I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, I went to like Michael's and like looked at everything they had on the shelf and like went to the hobby store and looked at everything they had on the shelf. And then I remembered Cameron talking about that Space Dust. And I was like, I have that set at home. Let me go try it. And the weird thing about the Space Dust set is a lot of those paints, they just look, they don't look like they have any pigment in them at all, like looking at the paint. But once you get it on the figure, you start to see the colors.
It almost looks like milk. Like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I just went through that set, and then there's one that's like a green to brown shimmer. It's a color change, and I laid that down, and I was like, yes, that's the one. That's it. And it was perfect.
That's awesome. Yeah. So when you're going in this, you're trying to match colors. Are you trying to start with a color that's just as close as possible? Are you mixing? Like what is your what's your process for trying to match that?
There's lots of mixing going on. So I try to look at the piece and I try to envision, like with this one, I was working with figures that were already made. So I was, it's funny because like the studio does the paint master and then the factory copies it. Well, with these, I was copying what the factory copied from the paint master. So I could ask for help from the studio, but it might not even be, how things were done on the actual figure. So I tried to look at the figure and see, okay, they started with this darker color. then there was a wash of this and then a dry brush of that, or whatever the sequence would be, and just tried to match that. But yeah, I mean, there's a heck of a lot of paint mixing and a lot of trial and error. And there were a couple of these and heads in the character pack where I would spend an entire evening just getting the paint color, and then the next day I would have to go back and actually put it on the figure. So
as you were trying to get the color, were you like testing on other parts or something else, or are you going straight to the head that you're working on? Like how are you doing that?
I was just going straight to the head I was working on,
Gotcha.
basically, and then if it wasn't right, I would just cover it up.
I know a lot of times I'll use the neck peg. Like if I'm trying to match like a skin tone on a face to the rest of the body, like I'll paint on the neck peg and see, you kind of see if it's a little bit too dark, too light, needs a little bit of a different color or whatever. So I just didn't know if you had any other tricks as far as when you're matching it. So.
No, it just depends. I mean, there are sometimes if I'm trying, like say if I have a Pantone number or something like that, I'll just get out a sheet of paper and mix a bunch of different shades and just put a little square of each color on a sheet of paper, and then I'll go down and match it and see which one's the closest and go from there. Yeah, it just depends on the project. But this one, matching the already existing figures, I wasn't going to mess with Pantone colors. I was just going to lay things down until they worked.
Gotcha. So then we've got this one, which comes with a tail too. You got a tail and a head, which is awesome. And now we've got this kind of, dragon head on all of these bodies, which I think people were excited about. I think several people had, painted up some of these to try to match this just to have this same look. So, tell us a little bit about this one.
This one was funny. I mean, obviously matching it to Kragnar, and kind of I tried to translate some of the shades in the head and kind of put them like on the same places that they were on the Kragnar head, if that makes sense. But obviously the contour and the sculpt of that is totally different, so it translates totally differently onto a different sculpt. And there were a few things here too, where Jeremy brought up the Figment custom that I did using this base body, and he was like, there's some stuff you did on that I like that I want you to kind of bring over to this, like mainly the dark ring around the eyes and some stuff like that. And then of course the nose horn too, which I don't think that's been painted a different color on any of the other Dragaseers or whatever.
It does make it pop for sure.
And I asked him, I was like, can I paint the horn? And he was like, you want to paint the horn, paint the horn. Like worst thing we'll do is tell you to change it, know? So I did, and they liked it. So we went with that. I think that's
very cool. Yeah, I think this is a really good set, for your non-customizers, right? Like especially like, heck, even customizers that don't feel like going through the trouble of trying to paint match this stuff. But for your non-customizers that just want to have some extra looks for this stuff, this is a real quick, easy way to, kind of build out your army or to just change the look up if you wanted this look instead. So
it's perfect. Very cool. That was one where when, I had worked on, I did these months and months before they got solicited. So like, I don't know how many of this custom that I saw people do, like in the Cabal and stuff. And Jeremy and I would text each other back and forth and be like, how do you not say something? like I must have seen this done 10 times, from the point when I painted it to when we solicited it.
It's funny because I did this like skeleton version of He-Man just recently, where I did this mod where I cut the legs off to fit in the boot. And, I did a video on it and stuff, and Jeremy's like, hey, don't go crazy on that, because that may be something that's coming. So it's like one of those where it's like, I let people know kind of like, hey, don't know when or if this will show up, but maybe you don't want to go and destroy 50 skeletons.
Yeah,
so,
let the records state that he said that, not me.
Yeah, right. So, but this one, I think I remember you saying that you had some trouble with. Like this one took you a little bit to get down, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's I've always loved that character and his look, but never really studied exactly what was going on there. And that was one where when I started to kind of pick apart those layers, I was like, there's some weird stuff going on here, like really interesting choices.
Yes, obviously some grays, some purple. There's a lot of different stuff going on. This one with the like war paint or whatever you got going on, I love that one. I think that one is so freaking cool.
It is cool. Actually, that's the one piece of these heads that I didn't do. So,
Oh, really?
Eric was working on the design that he wanted on that head. And I, the whole time I was working on these, they're like, all right, cool. Just focus on this stuff. We'll get you that design. We'll put it on, we'll send it back. It's cool. And then it got to the point where I was done, and they were like, oh, okay, well, we really haven't finalized that design yet. So they're like, just send it. We'll have Sherry just do it over top. So Sherry actually did the war paint on that head.
That's awesome. I love the idea for it. And then the one with the gritted teeth and stuff on the front part of the face, like by the I guess you would call it like the eyebrow area or the forehead, like you can see like this like purple veins in there. Like you really made those pop. Like just super cool job with that. I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
And then we've got this one, which you did talk about, the prison guard, and then the now I would think that the other one would be fairly easy, but I'm guessing it's probably not as easy as I think it is, the black one. Am I right? Was there a little bit more to it than what you would think?
I don't know. That one was pretty easy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the first piece that I painted out of all of these, because I was like, I can knock that one out because it's pretty simple. It came down to where to put it's just all black, and then there's some of it's satin and some of it's gloss. So it just came down to where we were going to put the satin and gloss.
Okay.
And the body has some silver accents on it. And I had talked to Jeremy and was like, do you think we should add some of the silver into the head, or you want to keep it all black? And he was like, I think black looks cool. So we just kept it that way. And then the antenna and the I don't know, bug
mandibles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are just factory parts. Like there was really no sense in painting them again.
Changing them up. Yeah.
You just send the factory parts. And I didn't know that they were going to come with it when I painted too, which I guess is like, you would probably assume. I just didn't think about it. But it's cool.
I could see, because if you're going to use it for the one that you've already got, you would have those pieces, but maybe you're trying to put it on a different body or something.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I did want to pull this one up because this is a Kickstarter that is currently going right now, correct? And I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name on this line.
It's called Legends of the Ramayan.
There you go.
Yeah.
And this is how long? Do you know how long the Kickstarter has left?
It just started. I think it started on Tuesday.
Gotcha.
So it's running through early August.
Okay. So yeah, tell us a little bit about, how did you get in touch with these folks, and
sure.
What's the idea with this?
Well, this is a Horseman project. So I did this through the studio.
Okay.
So this is Sumya Das, his line, and I've gotten to know Sumya through the Cabal, and he's part of our Legion's community. He's a really great guy. But he was developing this line with the Horsemen, and obviously I had no idea. But they brought it to me and said, hey, we're working on this line. We think it's a good fit for you. And I started with Vali, the figure on the left here, the one with the black fur. Really simian guy. That's actually the first figure that I painted for Four Horsemen.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So that was project number one. It was kind of a momentous thing for me,
Yeah, for sure.
And I love the character. I love the figure. It's a really cool toy, and I really think people are going to love these things. So please go support that Kickstarter. If you've got the funds and you want some really cool toys, these things are great.
So let's roll back on that for just a second, because obviously you've been doing customizing for a while, and I know you're a huge Horseman fan, as many of us are. So you get that call, and what is that like, right? Like you're getting that first call where they're like, hey, we're there's this company, they're going to be doing a Kickstarter, we think you'd be perfect for it. Like how does, tell us about your thoughts on that other end of that phone call.
so many thoughts I can't even put them together, you know. And I had been in talks with the studio, but it was kind of one of those like, well, we really like your work. I don't know if we have anything for you, but if anything comes up that we think would be a good fit, like we'll let you know. And that was good enough. I was like, all right, cool.
Right.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. So it was just one of those things where, you know, they knew I was down for it if they had something for me, and you know, if it ever showed up, then I was gonna be all for it. So that's exactly what happened. You know, it was quiet for a long time, and then one day I got the message like, "Hey, we got this thing," and yeah, I mean, I was jumping for joy. Like, how do you hold that in? You know?
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was. You know, I was calling my wife like, they gave me a project. It's, you know, it's happening. You know, it's really cool. Yeah, and it's
Go out and tell the chickens and let the chickens know.
for sure, definitely. And the interesting thing too is like being a customizer. It's like you're painting 3D printed parts all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're working on it, you almost just feel like you're making a custom, just like you always do. It's like the same thing I've been doing for years, you know?
Right.
But then when you get that finished figure in hand, you're like, heck yeah, like this was awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So now when you're doing something like this, and same thing, you know, I don't think any of the ones that we showed from the Horsemen that you've worked on so far that we've seen have had soft goods. These clearly do. Mm-hmm. Do you know like what the soft goods are going to look like before you're painting these, or like to help you like with the overall vision of this?
Yeah. So these actually don't have soft goods. These are all plastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, that is really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like soft goods.
For sure. Yeah, they look great. And that was part of it, was that the Indian dhoti, they call
Mm-hmm.
it, that the dress
Mm-hmm.
that they wear. And I don't mean that as like dress, like female dress, like, you know,
Yeah.
dress as like
Attire.
Yes, attire. Yes. That's the word that I was looking for.
Yeah.
If you look through a lot of their like art and iconography for these characters that have been around for literally like thousands of years, there's a lot of shading in there, and that was they talked about soft goods, and they're like, but we can't pull off this shading with the soft goods. Like, it has to be painted in there.
Very nice.
So that's why he went with the plastic, and I think it was a good call.
So you painted all that stuff too?
Yeah.
Man, you killed it, dude.
Yeah,
like,
thank you.
Like, especially like I'm looking on the purple, like on this sash thing here, and it looks like a felt fabric or something.
Yeah.
Like it, like to where the light's catching it in a certain way.
Yep.
The fact that that's painted makes it even more impressive, in my opinion. So
yeah, thank you. And that's all intentional. That's all to kind of match, like I said, like the artwork that's been around for years and years and years. Like, so there's definitely a style you're trying to nail with it.
Very
that
cool.
being said, though, too, Jakul does have some soft goods around his collar. He's got a fur piece.
Yeah, that's right.
And I have worked on some other figures that have soft goods too. So I mean, the soft goods are usually on Eric's render. He'll do like a sculpt of the soft goods, but you kind of know like, okay, when they actually do it, that's going to be soft goods. So you kind of have an idea of how it's going to look.
Like an idea of like the shape and color and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So tell us about this guy on the right.
So that's Prince Lakshmana, which I don't know a lot about these characters. I only know what Simya has told me, and it is fascinating. But basically, Wave 2, what the Kickstarter is for right now, is Lakshmana, Prince Lakshmana, and then his brother Rama and Prince Rama. So it's their normal versions, and then when they become princes. So the princes have this gold armor, and the normal versions are more stripped down, bare chested, you know, no gold or anything like that. But the point that Simya really wanted to drive home with the prince versions was there were 5 distinct golds that he wanted on these figures. And when I looked at the renders and the character sheets that he had sent, that was like my eyes kind of bulged when I saw that. And I even I messaged George and I was like, hey, does he really want 5 distinct gold colors on here? And he was like, that's what it looks like, man. Let's try it out.
It does look
did.
cool. I liked it. Yeah.
It came out cool, but yeah, it was a daunting thing. And it was one of those times where I was going through like every metallic paint that I had, making a swatch and like putting things together and seeing what gradients worked and what ones didn't, and landing on them. And I basically had to create like a paint by number for the character sheet. And Sumya had kind of done that too on the character sheets, kind of like assigned certain shades to certain parts. But there was a lot of trial and error there. But at the end of the day, looking at the full figure, it's like, yeah, it looks cohesive. It came out great.
Yeah, it looks awesome. And then we've got these three as well. So yeah, any obviously that blue is just very striking.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's some different shades of blue in there as well. But then now that I know these aren't soft goods, looking at all those, I'm like, man, you just killed it on those too. It looks awesome.
You. Yeah, that was probably the hardest part of this project, was just the getting the shades and the folds of the clothes to be right, and then getting them to kind of mix and flow the way I wanted them to.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this down for a second and just share my screen, because it looks like so the Kickstarter, 37 days to go. Looks like the goal is 50,000. It's already at 16,000. So
looking good.
It's a pretty dang good start.
Yeah, and Sumya announced last night too that he's going to be adding a Kickstarter exclusive.
Oh, very nice.
I think he said in the next week, which is going to be a figure mainly using the volley parts, but it's going to be Beastman colors from Masters of the Universe.
Oh, very nice.
So that'll be a really fun figure.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
So folks, check this out. I mean, this is actually going to air pretty quickly. This will be this upcoming Monday.
Awesome.
So there'll still be plenty. By the time this airs, there'll still be over 30 days left. So yeah, jump in and back this. So
if you ever wanted a little squirrel, Rama's got a little squirrel friend there. So
there you go. That'll help out. So getting into some of your customs, I needed to talk a little bit about some of the tributes, because you've done some awesome tributes. And actually one of the favorite things that I've ever seen on YouTube was a little video that you did with Emil, where you guys got together and talked about like kind of how you go about doing your tributes. Absolutely. One of the best videos I've ever seen, which I'll link in this video for if anybody that wants to check that out, that they've never seen it, because I just thought that was amazing. I mean, you got two of the best guys in the business that are doing these tributes, kind of talking about their process on, is it, something that you're thinking about doing and then you put the parts together? Is it something where you see a part and it triggers an idea for a figure, or like, how all that works, and then the process of going about it? I thought it was just a really good talk between the two of you. But tell us, first off about this one here, because this is one of my favorites.
Thanks. This is my Rat King. So the figures that kind of got me a little bit of notice in the beginning were I did some Ninja Turtles out of some basic Coliseum works. Really, really basic customs, but they just look cool when they're done, with the color-coded armors. So after I did that, I wanted to keep going with the Ninja Turtles characters. That's always been my favorite IP. So yeah, with the tributes, I just wanted to keep going. So I did a Shredder, and then I think I did Krang before this guy, and Casey Jones I did before this guy too, and then I did Rat King. But of that whole set, I think Rat King is my favorite.
It's so well done, and it's not like a 1-for-1 replica, right? Like it is your vision of Rat King in kind of a mythic world, which is just super cool.
Yeah, thank you. And I think this might have been the first one where I really kind of strayed from the format with like that, where I kind of started to think, okay, let's make it less an obvious tribute and more something that exists in this story of mythos, So yeah, I didn't worry about making it literal. The colors are kind of vaguely where they're supposed to go, and obviously he's got a crazy face and red pupils and that orange hair. So, I mean, you really get the idea from it. I did the turtle shell pauldron just to kind of like push people in that direction. If it still wasn't clicking, it's like, oh, he's got a turtle shell. It's Rat King. And then I found this STL file for all these like mutated rats.
Oh, nice. I was wondering where you got all the rats
Yeah,
from.
I had a friend print them out for me, and yeah, like some of them look like normal rats, and then some of
Mhm.
them have like horns. Some of them are like naked and like mutilated looking. Some of them have multiple tails. And it's just a fun batch of rats to paint up. And I painted like twice as many as what I actually put in the display. But yeah, it really brought it together. And that year too, I brought this to Legions Con 21, which was my first Legions Con. And I really wanted to, I didn't want to just make custom figures. I wanted to kind of tell a story with the figures.
Mhm.
So I made these little like 6" by 6" dioramas to put them down in.
I
So that you
love
got a little bit
that.
of
I was actually
storytelling
going to
with it.
bring that up, that it's like it really, I feel like it made your table an experience. Like, so that is the year I didn't go that year, but I was watching from afar and I was seeing people's pictures and videos and all this and that. And when they would go to your table and you would see these little like diorama setups, it's like, this isn't just a figure. Like you said, this is like a story. And I thought it was just super cool the way that came out.
Thanks. And I've tried to incorporate that in some way or another to most of my customs that I take to Legions Con to show off for the first time. They've gotten a little bit larger in recent years, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it still kind of drives the point home. Like I said, tells a story, and it adds to the challenge of it. I mean, this was like, I don't remember if this is the first one I did out of those, but these were like the first dioramas I'd really ever made. So there was
very cool.
a lot of learning that came along with those. So
Awesome. This is obviously another one that you're pretty well known for, and just wanted to kind of bring this up and talk through this. First, what made you want to do this, and then as far as like the head, like I need to know what's going on there, like how you did that, because it's it's got this container. It looks like it's got hair attached to it. Like it's super creepy. So yeah, tell us. And then,
Sure.
well, and then if that's not enough, then you get this with the black light. So yeah, tell us what's going on with this.
So I love Disney parks, and that's like a thing that everyone knows about me now. Like if you know who I am, you probably know I love Disney parks.
Yep.
And it's something I get to share with my family. So that's the thing that makes it really special for me. Like my family gets to be a part of everything I do if I'm doing something about Disney parks. And it's also something that I have historically nerded out with Eric Treadaway about too. So my love of Disney parks may be an integral thing that got me where I am now. I don't really know, but yeah, I love the Haunted Mansion at Disney. That's my favorite attraction, like in the world. I think it's one of the biggest like conglomerations of like ridiculously creative people being ridiculously creative. And I think that it's really easy to tell just by looking at it, or when you experience that attraction, you're just like, holy cow, this is just the most original thing in the world. Even though it's been around from the 60s, it's like you get used to it. But when you really look at it, it's like, man, there's so much cool stuff that went into this. But this is the Hatbox Ghost. He's kind of one of the like signature characters of that attraction. I actually did this figure before Hatbox Ghost got added to the Disney World Haunted Mansion, which is the only Haunted Mansion I've ever been on. So I had never seen Hatbox Ghost in person.
Oh, wow.
And then the base that I made for him here is actually part of the queue if you go ride the attraction at Disney World. This is right before you go through the like maintenance doors into the ride itself.
Very cool.
So if you find yourself standing in this spot, you might look to your left and see the headstone and the brickwork, like even the brickwork on the ground I matched. I looked at photos and matched that brickwork on the ground. And then the fencing there is the fencing from the attraction. So that's a literal spot that you can go stand in. So I felt pretty accomplished about that. Yeah, for sure.
So how okay, the hat, and like it's floating, like it's just floating. All right. How did you do that? Is this magic? Did you put magic in this?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
No, lucky for me, the Four Horsemen had made a figure years before in a line called DC Universe Classics for Mattel of a character called Gentleman Ghost. And I was able to use that shawl and the hat from Gentleman Ghost. He's got a little monocle that hangs from the hat, so obviously I cut that off. The shawl I stripped all the paint from so that it was completely translucent and I could start from scratch as far as the translucency goes.
Very cool.
But yeah, I wanted to get this ethereal kind of like ghostly glow from it, even if it wasn't actually glowing. So I started with a really dark black base and just build up. There's like 6 or 7 different blues that you go from dark to light, and just kind of, once you get to the really light colors, just hitting the very tips of things, but it kind of gives it almost a translucent vibe, even though it obviously isn't translucent.
Well, and then you hit it with something that when you then put the things under black light, like, you know, right? Or is the rest of it just like the normal colors and then you put something on the head here, or what do we got going on?
So I did a basic dry brush of some UV reactant blue paint on the body, and it's so thin that you can't see it with the lights on. It doesn't show up. But once you hit it with a black light, you really see all the details come out in the body. But then for the head, since that's obviously like the focal point of the piece, I doubled down on that and made sure to like really go through and add a lot of detail to it.
Very cool. The next one, this is one of my favorites. I absolutely love this. And I wanted to include the little sketch that you did on this, because I thought that was just kind of a cool way for people to visualize like how some of these things come together. I know some people will like put the parts together and take a picture of it and then like use Photoshop and add colors and kind of, you know, do some things like that. I've seen people, you know, kind of write down their ideas of what they want to do. But to do a little sketch drawing of it like this, and then to see it like as the custom come to life, I thought was awesome. And then the paint job on it, like the line work on this is spectacular. It looks so spot on. So yeah, tell us a little bit about this guy and how it came together.
I love Archangel. He's my favorite X-Men character. Him and Colossus, always been my favorite. And I always wanted to do an Archangel, but it's like, what parts are out there for an Archangel? And then he was on my list for a long, long time. And it hit me like I could do the Death's Head version and use a skull. It's so simple, but I just never thought of it. So that's what I did there. I just used the skull for the head, painted the skull gold, and then went through and, I mean, the markings on the body are like note for note Archangel's design, you know, that's very literal. And then just using the silver bone wings made a lot of sense. I used sorry, go ahead.
For the line work, were you like taping things off, or is that all free-handed, or how did you do that?
That is a lesson in masking for sure.
Okay.
I spent a long time masking that off and making sure it was perfect. And even then, I've never done a masking job where I pull the tape off and it's like ready to go. It's always super messy. It's like the paint gets down in the cracks, so you got to go through and touch it up. And so yeah.
What are you using to mask it with? Are you like just plain old painter's tape, or do you have some sort of hobby? I've seen some like little hobby tape that people use sometimes.
Yeah, it's just masking tape, but I ordered it off Amazon in multiple thicknesses.
Oh, okay.
Not thicknesses, but widths.
Right.
So there's like a 2 millimeter, a 5 millimeter, whatever. So you've got different sizes to work with so that you're not cutting it down constantly and things like that. So
gotcha.
That does help for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it came out fantastic. The only thing I noticed on here is from the drawing to the actual figure, you changed the armor for the lower legs and lower arms. So what changed in your mind that you're like, I would rather do this?
I just wanted to add more visual interest. In the drawing, I just kind of continued the same blue from the bear skin parts, I guess. Which would be a more literal translation probably. But once I don't remember if I actually started it or if I just thought about it and wanted to change it up. But it's like, yeah, he's in the world of mythos. Again, he's a skeleton at the heart of it. You know, he's got the full muscular parts, but he's got the skull face. It's like, let's make him gross. So I decided to do like just a rusty silver armor. Kind of.
And what about the shape of the armor? Because it looks like you were in the drawing, you were going with the more like spiky, like I think they call it the Evil Knight armor. Yeah. And then it looks like maybe you changed it to kind of the Good Knight armor. What's the idea there?
I don't know. Okay. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. I think there was a point where I was customizing the only, if you wanted to do a custom that had bear parts, you were using Purplor. That was the only figure you could get. So you were constantly using the purple bear parts and the Evil Knight set. So I think I had just done so many customs where I did the Evil Knight armor set. It was like, I just want to paint something else. So I think I switched it up.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. This is definitely one of my favorites that you've done. And another one of my favorites, like this thing blew me away.
Thank you.
This vision that you did, because of the translucent and the weight. I mean, it looks like his hands are glowing. So yeah, tell us a little bit about this, because once again, the face, the outline of the face, everything is perfect. Like the details are perfect, and then you've got like these glowing hands and feet, and even like the cape into the pauldrons is it just looks like the whole thing is lit up.
Yeah, that one was really fun too. This was the first one. So Emil had done his Mythic Avengers, and my favorite Avengers character is Vision. It always has been. So I was bugging him, like after he made like Captain America and Iron Man, I was like, I want to see Vision. He was like, maybe, and then he like he makes the Hulk. Like, Emil, I don't know if you know this, but that's not Vision. And then, and it makes Thor. That's not Vision, man. Just bugging him. So eventually I was like, okay, if I want to see a Mythic Vision, I'm going to have to do it myself. But since he had done that set, I wanted to do something that would kind of match the visual of what he created. So I tried to kind of stick to his processes as far as what I perceive them to be for like the tones on the body and stuff. I didn't airbrush as much. I did a lot more dry brushing, hand brushing out the details, things like that, because that's more what he's doing. Obviously for the fades in the armor, that's airbrushed. That would be really hard to do without an airbrush. But that's obviously Hagnon parts. This is Hagnon's clear. I actually got those parts from Bill Drunowski. I think that was like one of the first times I really talked to him, was I put out feelers for Hagnon parts, and he was like, I got you, man.
Did you dye them at all, or this is all just airbrushing on it? Okay.
Just airbrush. Yeah, it's inks into acrylic metallics.
Very cool.
So I used a yellow ink. I tried to keep some of the full clear just to get that really bright aspect to it, and then kind of go in with the yellow and then fade that yellow into gold, and then even do some gold shading and stuff on the pauldrons and things there, to really kind of ground that it's a solid piece that's turning translucent.
Very cool. What about the cape? Where did that come from?
That's actually, so I broke the one rule of tribute figures, which is to not use any parts from the original character. But
that is Emil's self-imposed rules?
Yeah, for sure. That is a Vision cape. It's one of the MCU Vision.
Oh, gotcha.
I ordered it. I was like, I really don't want to use this, but it really is the only thing that kind of fits the bill. And then I tore it off, and that even the collar piece that was on it fits the musculature of the Legion's torso like perfectly. If that were proportionally off in any way, I would have found a different piece to use, but I really liked the way that it looked, so I kept it.
So did it already look the way that it does here, or did you do some painting on that as well?
It's fully painted. Yeah, that was one where
I was gonna say, it looks like the paint job matches perfectly with what you did on the other part. So but it still has that translucency at the bottom, right?
Yeah, and the original figure had that too. It was a phasing, the white Vision figure, and it was phasing. So I still stripped the white paint just so I could start from scratch. But once you strip that paint, it's just a fully clear piece. So you can kind of do whatever you want with it.
All right. Well, we're getting down to it. I only got 2 more slides, Eric. That's it.
Oh, you're
Just
good. You're good.
two more. Because this is another tribute that I just absolutely adored. Like as soon as you posted this, I was like jumping up and down. I was like, yes, that is so cool. I love it. So and these are not easy parts to get either. So like you combine it with the parts being hard, and then just this really cool to me, but maybe obscure to some people tribute. So yeah, tell us a little bit about this one.
Yes, this is my tribute to the fiery characters from Labyrinth, which is my favorite movie of all time. That's my desert island top one movie is Labyrinth. I love it.
That's cool.
So yeah, again, this is one where I really leaned heavily into what would this character be like if it were in the land of mythos. So I kind of envisioned, in the movie she goes, there's the puzzle with the door knockers, and she has to choose a door, and she ends up in the forest. I had this thing where I was like, okay, well, these guys are in the forest. What if the door knocker was like a deity to them? What if they viewed it as like the keeper of the forest or something cool like that? Well, obviously, like other cultures, they work the deity into like the armors that they wear, things like that. So I did the 3D printed door knocker on the chest, and then I did smaller ones on the shoulder pads. And my intention was to do a fiery character for the other door too, and I just never did it. But yeah, kind of a cool like world building exercise, I guess, which is something that I've never really flexed creative muscles in like a storytelling kind of way. So this is one of the first times that I really got to do that.
I love it. I love the fading on the feathers and stuff, and then the face is so detailed. That eye is like perfection. The blue fading into the like on the beak. It like everything on this not only is it a really cool tribute that immediately as soon as I saw it, like it took me back to that part of the movie. But it's just super well done. The details came out so crisp.
Thank you. He's still one of my favorites. And that figure, those parts don't really fit together very well. And he's one that will, if you try to stand him up on his own, he'll just flop over. But it looks cool, as a presented piece. So I always put it on a stand when I have it at shows. But he's still probably one of my favorite things that I've done. He was probably 5 years ago.
Well, I've got one more slide. And I think if I skipped this last slide, I would probably get kicked off of YouTube. Like I think all of the people that are following the channel would leave. Anybody that's subscribed to the $1.99 monthly membership would leave, because we have to talk about some of these heads, right? Okay. Like this is something. And let me just throw out here first, like, not that Eric Treadaway is listening to this, but if he is, if you ever do a Medusa figure obscura, how do you not give it to this man to paint? Like, I'm just saying, like, there is nobody that has the experience that this man has on painting Medusa heads. So yeah, I mean, these have been super popular. Every time that I see you at a show, people are asking about these. And you've got a huge variety that I mean, these aren't all the ones that you've done. These are just a selection that I pulled. But yeah, tell me about kind of the evolution of painting these heads, how much work goes into these, and just what you've tried to bring as you've painted the different styles.
Sure. So that was a piece that was brought to us by Teal Titan, which I don't really know if he's doing anything anymore. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, man, I got to paint that head. And I painted one, posted pictures, people liked it. I brought it to that first Legions Con I went to back in 21. And that was the piece, like the whole show, that everyone's like, how much is that? How much is it? And I wasn't selling anything back then. And I still have that first one that I did.
Very cool.
But, yeah, just a lot of people weren't painting it. I think maybe it was a little overwhelming to a lot of people or something. That piece takes a lot of work. The first one I painted took me close to 9 hours, I think.
Wow.
Just to paint the head, which is crazy. For me, at least, that's a lot of time. And then it became a thing that people wanted. So I hate saying no to people. And I really enjoy painting those pieces too. So I just kept at it, kept painting more, that more variants came out of the head. So I started painting all the other variants too. And I think I've probably done maybe a little bit over 20 different ones at this point. And I don't know for sure, but I think that piece is like run dry. I don't think it's around anymore. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
hate
I
to
mean,
break it to you guys, but if you've got a Medusa head from me, like that's probably it. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any more. So
I love all of them. I mean, as I'm going through the pictures and I'm trying to, I was like, oh, well, I'll put 2 of them on this slide. And then I was like, well, I could do 3 or 4. And then I'm like, I'm just going to fill up the slide. I'm just going to put as many on here as I can.
sure.
But the 2 for me that are my absolute favorites, I love the third one from the top where it kind of has that Hera, paint color scheme on there, which I think was brilliant. Incorporating that in, and you did a great job with the line work and stuff on there. And then the one in the bottom right, the like really evil Clash of the Titans Medusa looking one, like that one is just, dude, so freaking good. But yeah, those are my 2 favorites. But I mean, you can look when you look at these and you see like the paint in the mouths and the individual fangs and the eyes on each individual snake, and then like you look at the like the foreheads and stuff, and you see like the blending and the dot work and stuff on there. Like there's just a lot that goes into this. I don't envy you having to paint as many as you have. But like I said, if Eric ever does a Medusa and he doesn't tap you for it, like there's a crime against the entire world. So
I'll tell you, man, Sherry calls all the ladies. That's her thing. So
I don't know, man.
I would say she's got some seniority over me, so I don't know how much say I would get.
Let her do the body, and then you just do the head.
Sure. If that were a thing that were to come about, I would be honored to do it. But I wouldn't want any animosity from Sherry. So if it meant that, I'd be like, all right, it's all yours. You take it.
Well, that is everything I've got. I really appreciate you making time. I know you're very busy schedule right now and stuff, but anything else that you obviously the whole idea of this show that I do is to try to encourage people to get into customizing, to continue customizing. Any other tips or feedback that you'd have for folks that are either trying to get in this or trying to continue their journey?
I think the biggest thing is just to do it. Like, I think a lot of people worry about it and put it off, and they just never really jump into it. So I think once you get started, you're going to find what you like, what you don't like, what works, doesn't work, and then the things that you need to be better at. So you're going to want to push yourself in those ways. I encourage people to not get complacent with one style. I mean, learn how to airbrush it, but learn how to use traditional brushwork too. Learn how to dry brush, but also learn how to do fades and gradients, using things like layers and feathering and, wet blending and glazes and all the buzzwords, but every technique has a place and there's an art to it. And it's important to, kind of like create an arsenal, from all that stuff and be able to use all of them whenever it makes the most sense to use it. And then stuff starts to become an intuition. Like it gets to the point where you don't even think about how you're going to do something. You find your hands are just doing it before you even really put a lot of thought into it. So, if it's something you want to do it. Reach out to people like me and Curtis. We're here to help. And there's a bunch of other amazing artists in our community that will help you just the same.
For sure.
This is it's a cool place that we've built as fans, under kind of like the tutelage of the studio, who's always been reciprocal with their, the love they give back is equal to the love that they receive, if not more. And it's really created this whole awesome community. So yeah, like don't be scared of the community. Don't be scared of the task. Like jump in. If you need help with something, let us know.
Very cool. Smart words there by Eric. So I appreciate you, sir. I'm going to put you backstage. I know I've kept you longer than I promised. So if you have to run, I understand. If not, hang out and I will be right back with you. Okay.
Right on. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that was another How'd They Do That. If you want to see more of Eric's work, check out right here at the bottom at @EM_custom parts on Instagram. Amazing Instagram. He does some awesome work. And now he's doing work for toy lines and living the dream, which is awesome. Like there's nobody better at doing this stuff and nobody that deserves it more than him. So, super happy for the guy. Like he's just so talented. And then also just, like today, willing to share tips and tricks and stuff. So, but you also heard, like, even as he's going through here and he's doing some color matches, sometimes it's frustrating and you got to do different things and mix colors and try different stuff. And, so, if stuff gets frustrating, don't feel like, you can't do it or anything like that. Sometimes it just gets that way, and maybe try something different for a little bit and then come back to it, or hit somebody up and ask for tips. But really the best thing to do is just get out there and do it. Kind of like Eric was saying, like just dive in and work at it, and you'll get used to certain tools, you'll get used to certain paints, you'll get used to certain techniques, and then it just becomes old hat. So really appreciate Eric joining us. Once again, there is that Kickstarter going out there, so check that out. There's still going to be over 30 days left, when this airs. There's also the Horrors Isomol wave is out there right now, and you've got that Joe Cool figure with the new articulation looking good. So yeah, go out and get a few of those guys. Heck, why stop at one? Get a few of them. So here there's a little guy in that wave that's pretty cool too. I don't know, maybe check that one out. So but once again, thanks for Eric jumping on, and thank you for all of you that are watching. Hope that you're inspired by something that you saw in this episode. If so, make sure you tag Eric, tag myself, and whatever you create, because we'd love to see what you come up with. And until next time, folks, keep creating.